Hello, welcome back to the woods, and welcome back to my reading room. Now this video came about because I get asked quite often, what books do you recommend for people just starting out in bushcraft? Well, there are loads. So what I thought I'd do is I'd do an occasional set of videos which just review a few of the books that I've got in my sort of bushcraft and survival type library, and there is quite a few. If you're old school and you've been doing this for a while, probably a lot of these titles you already have, but if you're new to it, well, this is aimed at you. Now obviously I have been doing this for quite a few years, and I've been buying books for quite a few years too, so there is a chance that some may be out of print. So I'm only going to try and include the ones that I know are in print and the ones that you can get hold of. Now the books that I have not only cover bushcraft, they cover all manner of related subjects. So in this one I'm going to focus on 3, but if you guys want me to, I will expand and we'll look at some of those other titles that I've got too. All ones that I think might be useful to you. So the first book that I'm going to look at, I've had for a very long time. In fact, I bought this one way back in the early 1980s. This particular copy was published in the UK in 1978. So I've had it for a long time. In fact, before bushcraft per se was an actual thing. It's called Bushcraft. It's by a guy called Richard+Graves, and it's down as a serious guide to camping and survival. And that's exactly what you will find within these pages. Inside the book, what you will find is 300 odd pages of wisdom, all manner of different things. This book, I think, has been the inspiration for an awful lot of people, so much so I think some people's careers were almost launched on the contents of this. The sort of donut type boat made out of brush and a tarp, the idea came out of here. Somebody else I saw with a new idea over on YouTube had a hammock that you only needed one tree to sleep in because it suspended itself. Again, it's a project you will find in here, and there are lots of ones like that. There's all manner of things. The guy who wrote the book, Richard+Graves, wrote it back in, I think it was just after World War II, and it was a compilation of the 10 books of bushcraft, which he had put together because he ran a unit for the Australian military during World War II, which basically went and found downed airmen in the jungles of Southeast Asia. So the guys that were in the unit had to live in the jungle with nothing more pretty much than a machete. So it covers all the basics: fire lighting, shelter building, but not just any shelter building. These are like full-sized village huts, buildings on stilts, bridges, you name it, it's all in here. There's also a big section on camp furniture. There's a huge section on cordage and knots. There's also one on tracking and the senses. There's a chapter on trapping. There's also one on navigation. Everything is in here. It's a great little book. It's not bang up to date because it was written in the late 1940s. So you won't find gas lighters, you won't find ferrocerium rods. What you will find is a lot of very old school wisdom, and it is an excellent book. And because it's not a big name, I think you can get a copy of this pretty cheaply. I think last time I looked on Amazon, I think I saw one for about £8. It's a cracking book, really good, well worth looking up. Again, it's Bushcraft by Richard+Graves. So my next choice, well, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone because this one should be in everybody's bushcraft library, and it's this, Kochanski's Bushcraft, written in the 80s, originally titled Northern Bushcraft, and I think through most of the 90s I was trying to get hold of a copy of it, but it was before the advent of the internet and I couldn't. However, once the internet arrived and Amazon arrived, I could suddenly get myself a copy, and well, as you can see, this one's very well thumbed. Inside, all manner of useful projects diagrams, techniques, advice. There's a section on knife craft, shelter craft, firecraft, axe craft, swordsmanship. It's all in there. There is a huge amount of information packed into this little book. This one's been with me for a long time and it's very, very well used, and this, I think, is probably the best work ever written on bushcraft. It is very tailored to the boreal forest, but nonetheless there is so much information in it that we can draw down for use in almost any wooded environment. It's a really, really great item. Again, about 300 odd pages long. There's a little photo supplement at the back, and it's packed full of very simple diagrams, and it's well illustrated, well explained, and I think it's an absolute cracker of a book. So pop out, get yourself one of these. As I said, they don't cost a lot. I think the last time I looked it was about £12 on Amazon. Right, so that's 2 down. But the next one, well, it's good old Ray Mears. He wrote this book, it's the first time I'd ever heard of Ray, The Survival Handbook. A great book. This is the hardback copy. I remember pre-ordering this and paying the full price for it. A couple of years later you could buy them in all the book shops for about £1. And if you've got one of those, it's worth an absolute bloody fortune by now. As you can see, my one is quite well used. There's a lot of good techniques in there, but this one, these change hands for an awful lot of money. They are collector's items now. However, this one, the Outdoor Survival Handbook, was one that he brought out a few years later, and it's broken down into seasons. So it's spring, summer, autumn, winter, etc. And so you can pick your season, you can go into the book and you can find a whole load of projects. Almost 300 pages long, loads and loads of different projects covering all the bases, shelter, firecraft, water procurement, wild edibles, you name it, it's all in there. It's superbly illustrated, it's very, very nicely written, and there's a whole year's worth of projects in there. This is my second copy. I had the original one with the white cover, which was changed after not very long, don't know why, but the actual content is exactly the same. This one, again, good old Amazon, you can pick them up on there. It's freely available and it's an excellent book, and really one that you should pick up for your bushcraft library. So there you go, those are the 3 books that I'm going to recommend in this video. If you're starting yourself out in the world of bushcraft, these are 3 must-haves. I'll put a link in the description box down below for the ISBN numbers, and a link over to probably Amazon where you can pick yourself up a copy. If you've enjoyed this video and you found it useful, then hit that thumbs up button. If you think this might be a worthwhile series to do, and again, put a little comment in the box down below. I've got lots of other books I could recommend too. Also, while you're down in the description box, pop over there, have a look at my Etsy shop. Over there you'll find my little Greencraft patches. Get yourself one and show your support for the channel. And there's also a link down there to my social media, my Instagram, Facebook, etc. So pop over there, give me a follow over there as well. I think that's everything. I've been Neil, and until next time, stay safe in the woods.